Good evening and welcome to our Fireside Chat with Exclusive Resorts CEO James Henderson. My name is Erin Lentz and I will be your host for this next hour. A big welcome to everyone who's joined us. We're so thrilled to be spending time with you this evening. For nearly 2 decades, Exclusive Resorts has been providing its members with safe and seamless vacations across its portfolio of residences and also offering incredible luxury experiences. We are going to be sitting down with both James and also the Senior Vice President of Global Sales, Rachel Regan, to talk a little bit about why families are choosing this option to travel with a members-only club. And then also we're going to hear some firsthand accounts of what it's like to travel with Exclusive Resorts. Before we do that, a few housekeeping items. We are going to talk for about 30 minutes and then we'll reserve the last 15 minutes to take questions directly from our participants. So feel free to send questions via the Q&A box that's at the bottom of your screen, and we'll do our best to get to as many of those as possible. If we don't get to your question, we will certainly follow up directly and get those answers to you. Also, this will be recorded, so for some reason you need to leave early, or if you want to rewatch or share it, we will be providing that link as well. So without further ado, let's introduce James and Rachel. James, of course, is the CEO of Exclusive Resorts. He is a true global citizen, having lived in 8 different countries. Prior to his role at Exclusive Resorts, he was the president of commercial operations at ExoJets and VistaJet, and then he was also the president and chief executive officer of the Americas for the luxury yacht brand, the Ferretti Group. Rachel, as I said, is the senior vice president of sales. She has been with Exclusive Resorts for many years, and she oversees all global sales and member acquisition for the club. She too is an avid traveler. She and her family have been Exclusive Resorts members for 15 years now. And during that time, they have taken over 75 vacations with the club. So she has some incredible firsthand experience of what it's like to travel with Exclusive Resorts. So welcome, James. Welcome, Rachel. It's so nice to be with you again.
It's nice to be back. It's a while since we've done this, I think, isn't it?
I know. It has been a while. Well, let's dive right in. I want to first talk about, there was a recent article in the New York Times about the benefits of traveling with members-only clubs. So James, tell us a little bit why you think there's been this surge of the pandemic. Certainly there's been more interest in Exclusive Resorts as well.
Yeah, look, I think I think the first thing, Erin, is that people still want to travel, and I think this is something that we've seen this certainly over the last 6 or 9 months. I mean, people are they've been confined. Certainly at the beginning of this, when the pandemic set out, I think people were confined. I think they realized that they wanted to get out and travel and be with families. And even though they still want to travel, they want the security and the privacy and the peace of mind of being in environments where they feel it's safe. And I think what that's done is it's seen a significant shift, and we've seen a big shift towards luxury homes and villas. I think a lot of people have some concerns about being in hotels at this point, and so we've seen a huge demand in the villa market, and people have been looking at second homes. We've seen home prices increase, certainly in a lot of areas outside of cities, as this is sort of the great migration in some respects as people have moved down. And this plays really well for us. And I think, we, Exclusive Resorts, been around for a long time. We have, all of our homes are secure environments. There are 2, 3, 4, 5-bedroom homes where you can be in a home with your family instead of being in a hotel. And the homes all are very configured well for families. I think this is a big difference. So, being in a hotel, you're going up and down elevators, you're waiting in line to check in, you're sharing dining rooms with strangers. But when you're in a home, you can have your whole family, and you're in that sort of that private environment. I think the other thing with a lot of hotels is hotels are high traffic, and thousands of people go through hotels and the rooms. And as Exclusive Resorts, we've spent the last 20 years building really one of the largest portfolios of real estate in the world. In fact, I think we're probably one of the largest. Or own one of the largest portfolios of homes in the world. We have, 380 plus multi-million-dollar residences. We're in private resorts, standalone homes, gated communities, And so when people do want privacy and they want to be part of a small community, we're a great alternative for that. And then this is really where the New York Times article was going with this. I mean, people want to travel in their bubbles. They want to minimize exposure. You know, instead of opening up our homes to a lot of people, we intentionally keep our membership small. We're an invitation-only private club, so we welcome approximately 100 families a year, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little less, into the portfolio. That's about 3 to 4% of our overall member base. And what this does is it enables us to maintain a very high level of service, exceptional quality. And when people are in the homes, they realize that these homes are, you know, the only other people that are in the homes or have been in the homes are either Exclusive Resorts members or other people that are like-minded members that are sort of your neighbors. I think the other really important thing that this article brought out for us was that people are looking to gravitate towards trusted brands. And I think you're seeing that with people that do go to hotels. They want to be in Four Seasons, they want to be in, you know, auberges, they want to be in with brands that they really trust and they feel comfortable around. And Exclusive Resorts was the original destination club. You know, we started out 20 years ago. We've done over, I think approximately 300,000 vacations. We have a 95% satisfaction rate. And so when people are looking for this safety and to be in these safe sanctuaries in terms of homes, they're gravitating to brands like us. And, you know, when you think about that, when you're traveling with your family, particularly in times like this, you can't really put a price on that safety and well-being of your family. You really want to have that security and that peace of mind. So as a result, what we've seen over the last probably 3 or 4 months is the highest demand levels we've seen since 2013. And I think for a lot of people, this is kind of a new normal because people are adapting to this. And the interesting thing for us is that this high level of privacy and security and personalized service, this has always been our normal. So the new normal for the industry, the market, is really our normal that we've had for 20 years. A lot of villas, if you go in the open market to an Airbnb or a VRBO or something like that, or a villa rental program, you're basically renting the villa from an individual owner, so you don't really know what you're going to get when you go there, and it can be very different. The experience can be different. A lot of luxury hotels, as I mentioned earlier, have a lot of turnover in terms of guests going through. And with us, we manage everything from all the way through the entire chain. So from when you book, when you're working with your vacation ambassador, all the way through to being in the destination and being in the homes, you're with Exclusive Resorts people all the way through. So we curate that entire experience. So we manage the entire thing, we back it, and we're a trusted brand. So, you know, I think there's some of the things that have really driven the New York Times article, and that's why we're seeing really this demand. And we have dedicated teams that will look after. So the whole gist of the article with New York Times is really about the fact that people are really moving towards these private clubs and they're members only private clubs because they like that security. So I think that's quite a long explanation, but it's why I think we are very well positioned today to see this surge in memberships that we're seeing and demand that we're seeing.
Great, thank you. And, you know, obviously the New York Times article mentioned some other brands as well. And, you know, let's talk a little bit more about what makes Exclusive Resorts unique in this specific marketplace, because certainly as people are wanting more peace of mind and to travel more exclusively, I want to, you know, get your take on why Exclusive Resorts is different.
Yeah, I think the first thing is we're a private club, right? We're a members only private club. And all of our members have access to our global collection of residences. You know, we buy typically, or we lease multiple residences in each location. Many of these residences have on-site amenities, they're five-star hotels, they're resorts. You know, even in the last 5 years, we've invested significantly into the residence collection. We've invested about $30 million. We opened 17 new residences in 6 destinations last year. And so, you know, overall, we are a private club. We are a trusted brand. We offer a very high level of personalized service. We are a value-based model with predictable pricing. And, you know, we control that entire experience. So, you know, we have dedicated teams that will create the entire itinerary for people. And not only do we have the homes, we have also a whole list of of bucket list trips like safaris, Antarctica trips, and things like that. So I think if you look at it for our members, we're really a true time off strategy. We have members who commit to a certain lifestyle because they want to travel in a safe environment. They want to travel to within multiple homes. They want to travel. Typically, they'll travel 15 to 60 days per year, and they're committing time away with their families. So it's not like a one-off type of trip. You're literally you're joining exclusive resorts because it's really it's a lifestyle choice, in my opinion. The other thing that I think is important for us is we have predictable pricing. So we have set nightly rates. So we don't dynamically price. Members, when they join the club and they commit the numbers of days a year they're going to travel, they're not spending time shopping rates. They're not comparing costs or worrying about seasonality or peak rates or hidden fees or anything like that. And the fact that we are a shared service model, one of the things it does is it means that it offers significant financial savings. So when you amortize it over the time of the membership and you look at the nightly rate that you pay, you'll typically pay significantly less than you would pay with either a villa rental program or other types of travel options where you have much more variable rates. Our members, they're typically our members. They're travelers that will travel anything from 20 to 60. Some members travel 100 days a year with us. A lot of them own their own homes. We manage the fact that we can manage homes in the portfolio. It means that members don't have to worry about that. A lot of them have second homes, but we're a good second home option. And then I think the other thing that makes us really different is this level of personalized service. We get to know our members really well. We have the vacation ambassadors that work with them. We have the destination teams that work with them. So, we get to know about how they travel, where they travel. We get to know their favorite wines, food, cocktails, activities, sports teams they like. So the goal is that we're able to provide these surprise and delight experiences and do things that maybe they weren't anticipating or they weren't expecting. Some of our vacation ambassadors that have worked with members for a long time, have worked with our members for 15 years. They know them intimately and are really part of the family. They've been to their weddings and funerals and graduations and things like that. So I think the difference really is that we are very connected with our members. I think we provide a very value-based model and we're a trusted brand. And we have a strong community of members.
Great. Traveling 100 days a year, that sounds heavenly right about now. Yeah, that is. And I love the concept that you mentioned about curating time off. And you also mentioned the experience collection and the ambassadors, which we're going to talk about a little bit further. But Rachel, before we do that, I want to talk about the members, because obviously that is the DNA of exclusive resorts. And I know that you have been working with a family that was thinking about joining, I think, for nearly 10 years, and they decided to join recently. Tell us a little bit what prompted them to do that right now.
That's a great question. I think families who join exclusive resorts and who have over the last 2 decades have done it based on what's happening in their life and a life circumstance or life phase or stage. And it's about being at the right time. And I think that this pandemic has really opened all of what we've been through together in the last 9 months has changed all of our mindset and reiterated what's really important to us. And I think that translates so well into what exclusive resorts, as James said, has always been as a company. We're not this, the big kind of company. We're a small private club that values personal interaction and personal experiences. And the pandemic has really pushed people, as James said, from really looking at what's important in their life and how they then want to create and curate those times with their family. The few spring breaks left, like in my life with my children before they're off in college, are the things that are important. And the interesting thing is that we have members joining because they're ready to travel now. We have walked through this journey. They have in their mindset that they're ready to travel now. We also have many members that have joined because they want the reassurance of knowing that when they're ready, we have planned something they can look forward to, something on the horizon that they're waiting to experience, and that when they're comfortable traveling again, that they're ready to make that commitment. They want to make it with exclusive resorts because they trust us and they trust what will happen once they walk out their door, all the way till they walk back in their door. which is something that that's extremely important to our member families, especially joining now. So this family, one of our team members welcomed just this week, and they're from Colorado. Exclusive Resorts has been on their radar for 10 years, over a decade. And they said, we were just thinking about waiting for the right time, and then thought, why am I waiting for the right time? The time is fleeting as quickly as it is here, and I think that has been relevant to us this year. I think the things that were important to them are similar to what James has already talked about, just the club's dedicated team and service, from their vacation ambassador to when they go to that destination. They know that our in-destination team that's there is just there for our members. They're there to make sure every experience is taken care of. And that, vetted portfolio that we've built and designed. One of my favorite, when I first started with Exclusive Resorts, one of my favorite things to do was go to the floor under where our department was and see the vision boards of each house and how it created and came to life. We named each home and designed them to feel the place that you are. So not every home is the same. We might have 20 homes in Costa Rica, but everyone is designed a little differently with local art and a feel of where you are, so that when you're traveling there, it's part of the experience of where you are. And I think what came up to this family as well is really the partnerships that we have and established. The club has 25 kind of partnerships with incredible brands, more than that now after the last few months, and welcoming more partners into for our members. But with Cinti and Jet and Private Medical, which we both have partnered with this year, offering concierge medical service, that and the value that brings was extremely important to this family. So it was more than just one thing. It was almost everything kind of put together, and what, again, the experience of the last few months really brought to fruition that now's the time. For them, they were staying home at Christmas and during the holiday season, but have planned their first trip to one of my favorite destinations in the portfolio, Real Del Mar, for President's Day. So they're looking forward to traveling with their family, and Mario and the team down there Roberto will welcome them with open arms with the best margarita in town. So I think that it's unique for every family, but again, through the last 9 months has really changed the mindset of what's important, and why making those memories and planning them now is something that Exclusive Resorts can provide when and if member families are ready.
Right. I mean, what a gift to give yourself right before the holidays, and to give your family. And to kickstart with Real Del Mar, I can personally attest that is the way to go. Let's talk a little bit more about, James had mentioned Airbnb, and I want to talk to you, Rachel, a little bit more about the idea of a vetted portfolio, and how, traveling with Exclusive Resorts is indeed very different than other luxury villa companies or staying at another luxury home.
I think James said it so well earlier. We're just not that. We're not a villa company. You can't, decide you want to travel to Exclusive Resorts destination. Really the value and what this club has provided and what it's built over the last 2 decades is its private portfolio of homes, and the safety that brings. And, vetted is interesting. It's vetted by us. So we've built and designed enclaves of homes in some of the best destinations in the world, surrounded by some of the most incredible resorts around the world. And when we, kind of have built and designed 10, 15 or 20 homes purposefully, so that our teams in those destinations can focus just on our family, so that, as James said, your neighbor, you're traveling with Exclusive Resorts, and you know who's right next door, and that we know them. And they're part of this like-minded community of members who really value experiencing time with the people that they love. So certainly that, and I think the consistency that brings. So if you're, like I said, in Costa Rica or Real Del Mar or in New York, or in Tuscany, the experience that you have each and every time, you can rely on what you will experience the minute you walk in the door. The club has been thoughtful of the same electronics in those destinations, the same coffee maker. You feel like you're in your second home, but you now are immersed in a new destination, as I was saying, with the home designed around the culture and experience of where you are, and the team that's there that lives in that destination, that has been part of our team there. Our in-destination staff on average have been with Exclusive Resorts over a decade. So oftentimes members will fall in love with a specific destination and might go back yearly, and it's the same family welcoming them home, or for the family of Exclusive Resorts. And that's incredibly meaningful. But the cool thing is that you can also then try other destinations, and it's that same kind of welcoming home experience. And that, there are no uncertainties, no inconsistencies. We're not perfect. We don't get it perfect every time, but we do our best to make sure it's as close as it can be. And it's that really personal relationship that starts with the day you come into the club, your membership ambassador who really understands who you are and gets to know you and begins to then curate the places and experiences that are important to your family. And that changes with life stage, right? So you might, with little kids, things are important to you and I, Erin, that might not be important to those that have, that are at a different life phase, and they don't have to worry about spring break or any calendar anymore. And so the club has changed with those members and grows with those families. And I think the portfolio has done the same thing. We've added purposefully smaller 2-bedroom homes into the portfolio so that if couples want to get away because their kids are off at college, so they can do that. And so I think those things are probably the most important when you think about our portfolio of homes.
Great.
I had a couple of things that I think was great. That was a phenomenal answer, Rach. But I think the other thing to bear in mind is that one of the things that struck me when I joined Exclusive Resorts, and I've been here just over a year, so I'm a real newbie in this company. And the average tenure in our organization is somewhere between 6.5 and 7 years across the organization. At director and VP level in our organization, the average tenure is above 12 years. This is a very stable company. We have deep and rich experience across all of our areas of our business. And when to Rachel's point about vetting the properties, we also do the same thing on the once in a lifetime journeys. So every single journey that we do, we send someone out. They vet that trip. They do a full reconnaissance of the trip. So we've been there, we've done it, we've seen everything that you go and you do. And so I think there's that level of security whenever you travel that we're always going to be there for you. And I think at this time, it's also really important during COVID because things are changing so fast. I mean, every day we hear something new in the news, right? There's a resurgence in some location or not in other locations. And if you book your trip, if you're on your own and you've booked a villa in the BVI or somewhere like that, or in Abaco or somewhere, or you've gone and you've booked a vacation, you have to go and find out for yourself if things have changed. We do a call every single day, which we call the morning show. We have about 140 people on a stand-up every single morning in the company, and we update the whole organization on every single change that we see. So, and the changes that are happening with traveling are so fast, and we will guide people through that process. So, if you have a trip and it's booked and anything changes, we will let you know immediately. We'll tell you if it's safe, if it's not safe. We'll hold your hand to do it. And if you have to cancel, we're super flexible with cancellations. You can, we have that. So I think traveling with a club like this, you have that security that you don't necessarily have if you have certainly with villa rentals or things like that.
Great, thank you for adding that. And we certainly want to talk a little bit more about peace of mind. But when you mentioned both tenure with the club and also, in my experience, any member that you talk to, when they talk about what makes the club unique, more often than not, they are mentioning their ambassador, their vacation ambassador. So James, can you speak to that role a little bit more and explain to all of us on the call how that makes the experience with the club truly unique?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you join Exclusive Resorts, in my view, there are two components of our business on the service side that I think make us very, very unique. One of those is when you join, we assign each family with their own vacation ambassador. And we handpick the ambassador. So we've got to know the new member through the sales process a little bit. We try and make sure from a chemistry perspective that the relationship with the ambassador is really going to work. We also try and make sure that they're in an area, if we can, geographically located, time zone and things like that. And then we onboard the new member. And so we get to know each new member we onboard intimately. We go through the whole process. We ask a lot of questions. And the role of the ambassador is not just like a travel agent or a vacation planner. The role of the ambassador a little bit is really to help members follow up on that commitment to spend time on vacation and with families, right? I mean, you join Exclusive Resorts because you want to explore, you want to dream, you want to discover, you want to do things that are going to have an impact on your life and with your family, right? The things that are good for you, things that are good for your health and your longevity. And so we want people to take vacations that are all about renewal and regeneration. And so that's the role of the ambassador. It's really to help you figure out over your lifetime with the club, what are the things that you can do? What's on your bucket list? What are the things that are the real transformative experiences that you might never have done before that you really want to do? And, I'm a great example of this. I'm the irony of this when I joined Exclusive Resorts was I'm not a very good vacationer. I'm not a very good planner, right? So I can't.
And he likes to work on the weekends, so there is no that the day cycle doesn't go through. It's interesting.
Mr. Ashley, but having an ambassador now, my ambassador Caitlin, she's a rock star. She calls me up. In fact, she emailed me yesterday. She said, "I haven't spoken to you for a few weeks. Let's put a call in the calendar next week." So I have a call with her on Monday, and will make suggestions and ideas and things that I should do, and like she booked a couple of trips for me next year that I would never have even thought about going and doing, but she put them on the calendar for me. Now I'm going to go to Kyoto and Sea Island. I've never been to these places before. Really looking forward to it, but I wouldn't have gone and done it unless she'd done that for me. So,
right.
It's having someone else help you do the planning. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to make the most of their time. We have a saying at Exclusive Resorts, and we say life is too short for should-haves. Like, I should have spent more time with family. I should have taken more vacations. We all look back on these things that we should have done. And so
I think this year more than ever, right? I think people are thinking about that more. Yeah.
And so that's really the role of the vacation ambassador. I mean, they stay with the family, and they help you, and they check in with you on a regular basis to plan out your travel and your vacations, and try and encourage you to do things that maybe you wouldn't have done. And we also, we have an app so you can do things yourself, but it's really someone that can sort of help guide you through that process.
Great. I'm jumping around just a little bit, but there was a question that's coming in from a participant about membership and if it has increased or decreased. And so, James, can you speak to a little bit about the value proposition of the club membership? It's often said that Exclusive Resorts is the smartest way to travel well. So can you elaborate on that point a little bit?
Yep, absolutely. Look, I mean, I think the another big differentiator for us is that, and I mentioned this earlier, is that our entire model is based on predictable pricing, fixed nightly rates. So we don't vary rates. It's not like we're not dynamically priced. Prices don't go up in peak periods or down. So typically when you join the club, you'll pay your initiation fee, and that initiation fee, depending on the membership, it starts at $150,000. And it can go up depending on sort of whether you do a 10-year or 30-year membership or whatever sort of access that you look for in addition. And you choose how many nights you travel per year, and you have the flexibility to decide where you spend those nights. So it's a bit like a country club. You pay that initiation fee when you come in, and then when you at the beginning of your renewal year or your membership year, you buy your 20 nights or 30 nights, how many nights you're going to buy. And that is fixed. Those prices don't change. Those days are in your bank, and those days are your currency, and you use those to travel. So, so the question I think that came in, have the costs to join increased or decreased? No, they haven't. They've been pretty much the same throughout this year. And we've tried to be so because we're a relatively small club. We're a membership club, we're a community. So we try to be super transparent, and we try to be very, very supportive and open with our members in giving them something that is very value based. So that is really where the value element comes from. The pricing is a predictable price. It's a fixed nightly rate of $13.95. That price does not change whether it's during peak periods. There are no hidden fees on that, no extra costs. And so when you compare it to other villa rentals or hotels, most of those have dynamic pricing. Those prices will change. The other thing that we get compared to quite often is second or third home. Funnily enough, about 50% of our members actually own second homes, but they still travel with us. And the difference of Exclusive Resorts compared to a second home is, clearly you don't have the maintenance costs. You're not limited to vacations in that same location, but you can access the entire portfolio that we have. So, so that's sort of the membership model. I think that sort of gives you a bit of an idea of why I think we're a value-based model. Someone else asked earlier on also about, I'm seeing a question here that says, what is a shared service model? What I meant by that earlier on is we are I call it a co-share model. So the fact that we have 4,000 members and we have 400 homes and experiences, because it's a shared usage model, it means that the prices to utilize that are amortized across the entire member base. So the costs are lower, so the membership costs are lower. So hopefully that answers that question. The other thing, just to finish out on this, on the predictable pricing, is on the value model, is one of the things we are doing at the end of this year, just as a bit of an update, is through the end of this year, I think through until mid-December, Rach, correct me if I'm wrong, we're offering a 5-year membership, which is really sort of an initial idea for members to come in, experience the club if they like it. In that 5 years, obviously, the idea is they will extend to 10 or 30 years. So that's why we believe that, in terms of our model, that we say, or people refer to us as the smartest way to travel well.
Great.
Yeah, I think I'll just add on to that. So pricing didn't change, but certainly as we, again, looked at many of us, our life in a different view after March and onward, had been asked by members joining just about I want to plan for my future. And so we just made a decision based on conversations we had to offer a 5-year membership, as James said, versus our traditional 10-year, which allows you to be a member for up to 10 years, or our lifetime membership, which allows you to be a member. It's inheritable to your children. It's really the traditional way most members have joined, because it is an investment into those experiences and life experiences that you want within the club. And then allowing your children and hopefully your grandchildren, depending again life phase, to do that. So that's the only differentiator for this year, is a shorter term. That as James said, coming out of where we have been over the last few months, we've really seen such an increase in demand of wanting to join exclusive resorts, that and the value that is surrounded by that we really haven't seen folks select that option. They really are looking at this for their family and planning for their future. So I just thought I'd add that too.
Great, thank you. And we'll talk a little bit more about a membership, Rachel, but before we do that, I do want to talk about safety, because certainly that is top of mind for all of us as we're heading into the holiday season. And James, you were talking about, one of the advantages of traveling with the club is it is by nature already, we're all hearing about contactless travel or low contact travel, and that has been the case since exclusive resorts, was first incepted. But talk a little bit, if you can, about what has also been implemented since the pandemic began, and the up-leveled safety and health procedures that you've incorporated.
Absolutely, that's a great question. But someone just asked a question about what precautions have we taken to provide safe interiors, so I'll answer that question as well.
Great.
So, firstly, as I mentioned earlier, I think the new standards that a lot of people in the industry talk about really have always been our normal, right? We have small footprints of homes. We have dedicated teams. The on-site teams, typically in terms of concierges, it's a ratio of 1 concierge to about 3 to 5 residences, depending on the location. So we're managing that location very, very tightly. It's not like we're managing a 1,000-room hotel or hundreds of rooms. Typically, the cleaning crews that we use are the same crews in the same homes. We use them all the time. We know them well. We have vetted them very carefully. We also have one of the things that we introduced last year, actually, and was quite timely, is we have a new mobile app that we launched last year. So we have full contactless check-in. So when you book the home, you can come in, you can check in, you can check out. Ahead of the stay, you can organize all of your groceries. So you can send a list, and we will go and we will buy all the groceries. We will provision the home, your wine, your food, your drinks, whatever you want. We will include, and there is no upcharge for that. That's a pass-through cost that we do for that, because again, the whole idea of this is it's a second home. So we want members to feel like that. So we'll provision homes with groceries. You can schedule your housekeeping with the app, and you can also chat directly with your concierge and your ambassador teams, and that is being monitored pretty much all the time. So we're seeing that, and we will respond quickly to that. So, and then when you check out, it's the same thing. There's typically a house bill, which is really for your groceries that you've had. But that's all there really is. You can add gratuities to that if you want to do that. So it's completely contactless, check in, check out. The other thing we've done is obviously we've enhanced our health and hygiene protocols. We have a partnership with a company called Private Medical, which in my view is the leading medical concierge certainly in North America, possibly in the world. I know the people that run it very well. They serve the top families in North America with medical services, and they went through a whole process with us to develop cleaning protocols for our homes. The other thing that we've seen actually is we've even seen that members, when they come in, have wanted to have these private experiences. So, whether it's a private chef experience, whether we are tutoring kids, or organizing sort of very unique activities. Again, you can do all of that without having to be in a large pool or location. In terms of the cleaning protocols in the homes, we take a lot of care anyway, but we've taken extra care. We've removed decorative pillows. We provide PPE kits to members on arrival. And then with housekeeping, you can choose to have it or not. So it's entirely up to you whether you want to have housekeeping or not. And you can organize that. Some people like it, some people don't. And it really is entirely based on the trip. So I think, the result of that is that what we're hearing is that members feel really safe. There's certainly what we're seeing is members staying a lot longer than they had been staying previously. Average trip lengths for us over the last 6 or 7 months have been increasing by about 30%. There's obviously been a big push for domestic locations because people have not wanted to travel overseas so much. We recently had a family from New York that was vacationing with us down in the Keys, in our new home in Alamorada. And instead of going back, they then went to Kior on their way home, and they ended up staying there for 2 months. They were doing homeschooling. They were doing the pool after work during the day, and barbecuing and golf and things like that. We have another member actually who is in San Francisco, and I think they're still there, but they were in our units in San Francisco for 51 days.
Wow.
They were staying. Yeah, amazing. I mean, I was surprised when I saw it. So people definitely feel safe. We hear it all the time, and I think we also get, one of the things I like to do is every morning we have the member surveys from the prior day that are distributed to about 80 people in the company. We have an email that goes out like clockwork, 7 days a week at 7 a.m. I read them every day. So I see every member survey from the prior day, and I read all the comments, all the things that are good, areas where we can improve, everything that we see. And overwhelmingly, people have felt really good about traveling with us over certainly through this period. And I think that's a great testament, because the satisfaction scores are high and they feel good about it.
Absolutely. Well, and certainly what has been implemented during the pandemic is of top note. But Rachel, pre-pandemic, even people would comment on how they felt it was, felt very safe vacationing with the club. Can you talk about, in addition to what James was just outlining, why members comment on that as well, why they feel safe traveling with the club?
I think James did a good job, good work there on highlighting a few of those points. But I think I'd go back to what I said in the beginning. I think one word, if our member families look at exclusive resorts, is trust. They trust us. They trust that they're being looked after. They trust the relationships. It's not about one home and a great destination. It's about what we understand about what that family wants and what's meaningful for them, and it being there waiting or created while they're there. I think that that brings a safe feeling that our team is always one step ahead of what they need to know. As James said earlier, from regulations, they're really complicated right now. That morning call, we go over any change that's happened. What do you need to get into the Caribbean on a COVID test right now? How long do you need it? How do you have to stay? What is that? And we're walking them through that path so that they know they can trust what we're doing, what we're saying. If we say, hey, I think we should pull back and change that destination or that reservation. Let's look at, Hawaii as now that's opened, or whatever it might be. And that there is this, there's this difference. It's not, again, about a one-off trip and knowing the best activities in there and what place you should go to dinner and what's the great restaurants and hole-in-the-wall places. Certainly we do all that. Of course we do all that. That's just what we do. But it's understanding and proactively helping families see things they might not see, and experiencing things they might not have chosen to do. I think as humans, we get into a rut sometimes. Okay, we're going to go to this destination because we know it and it's easy and we've gone there 5 times and we know our favorite restaurant. And so let's just keep doing that because we don't have to think about it. And when we're all busy living our normal lives, then that's the easy thing to do. exclusive resorts kind of pushes you to do the things that you're so happy you did and that you might not have thought about, because someone knows you, they know your personality, they know what's important to you, they know what your kids are interested in, or are they into soccer, and should you go to Barcelona, and should you do these things that you might not have done because of the things that are happening in your current life. So I think trust, and that trust builds on the safety, because they expect us to provide that. It's just part of,
Right.
of what we do.
Right, great. Thank you for adding that. Well, let's switch gears a little bit, because in the beginning of our time together, Rachel, you mentioned some of the partners that have been brought on, and you know, the other anchor to exclusive resorts is the community and lifestyle element to it, which is hugely important and impactful. So James, can you talk a little bit about this expanding partnerships within many different industries and sectors, and highlight a few of those for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things we try to do with partnerships is really fulfill a series of different needs for members, right? So some of this is really based on providing more travel services for members. Other of these things are based around lifestyle type things, like people who like to play golf or like wine or things like that. We're developing partnerships in those areas. We have partnerships with BMW. We're doing track events with BMW, with people who like automotive, like me, type things like that. We're also doing things where we feel like health and wellness is another area that we're developing partnerships that we can provide for members. But certainly in terms of the ones that are probably topical right now, we have put together a series of travel related partnerships that we think will certainly help members as they go through the process of traveling, to make sure they feel if they are taken care of, and they can manage that travel probably a little bit more safely and securely than they would otherwise. Beginning of this year, we put a partnership together with Sentient Jet and FX Air. Sentient is in my opinion the leading card holder, certainly in North America, probably in the world. FX Air is part of the same family. It's basically FlexJet, Sentient, and FX Air. They're all part of One Sky Aviation, which I think is one of the premium aviation or private aviation companies. And FX Air is a charter business. I know the CEOs of both FX Air and Sentient and FlexJet actually. They do an amazing job. They really do. And so, again, whenever we bring in partnerships, and from my perspective, these partnerships, we're endorsing them, right? So we have to feel comfortable that when we put these partnerships in front of members, that we're standing behind them, and we feel good about them. We feel good about what they're providing. The other things that we've done, private medical, I mentioned, the medical concierge company that we have. We have a great partnership with AirMed and Travel Insured, that are both really great insurance companies. And certainly at this time, in terms of the peace of mind that they give you, AirMed will basically medevac you out of locations if you end up being hospitalized. Travel Insured is a very comprehensive travel insurance policy that they offer. We've done a partnership this year with a company called All Roads North, which is very cool. They do custom made itineraries for road trips, and as people are traveling a lot more domestically, it's a very cool thing, because they'll basically put together this whole road trip for you. They'll even give you music selections, and you get this app that you do. And I did one actually earlier this year up in Napa, which was cool, because we wrote about it in our curated magazine, of course, Erin. And what was cool about it was they sent me to places that are within 90 minutes of where I lived. I didn't even know about. So you see all these great sort of cool experiences. And then the other two partnerships, which I think are superb. Savoya is one of the best, limousine car services, I think, in the business. And then of course we have Chairman's Club with Avis, which is highly sought after. I think it's probably one of the most coveted parts of the benefits that our members get. Chairman's Club is invitation only. It is only available to members. If you leave, unfortunately, you lose it. But it enables you to basically go into the car lot and choose the best car on the lot, which, of course, again, I love it, because otherwise I used to spend hours negotiating with the person behind the deck to get upgrades, which Mary used to kill me about. But it was it's great. So we have all of these sort of partnership experiences. And we're working on more as well. We're doing wine partnerships. We're doing golf partnerships. We're doing a series of different things that for the members to engage with each other, to connect. Members like to meet other members, we're finding, and these are just great ways for us to reach out and connect.
That's great. And on that point of members wanting to meet other members, Rachel, the lifestyle that's built within the members and the club community is just as important as this robust partner program that James was talking about. So can you expand on that a little bit more? You mentioned the experience collection earlier. That is, something that is just incredible that members have access to. So can you expand on those concepts a little bit further?
Sure, and I'll echo James that I would miss flights if it was not for Avis Chairman's Club, as they drop you off at your gate and take the car back for you. I mean, it is time to the minute. Business traveling with Avis Chairman's Club is the best. I don't worry about the car or negotiating the price, but I do need it to drop off at the gate. So that is an advantage. I think, so when James is talking, all of these really great kind of global partners for when you travel or safety and wellness and things that we've done. I think one of the best things about exclusive resorts, and I've mentioned it just slightly, is this really tight-knit member community. I've been a member, as you've said, almost 16 years. And I think as the club has grown, it's almost kind of a byproduct of what has happened over 2 decades, that it is this community of folks that are investing in time that is meaningful to their family and want to know each other and want to have that experience of getting to know other members. We have spent a great deal on a club community that's part of our internal member kind of website, if you will, which allows members to talk to one another. What's the best restaurant you went to here? What boat vendor did you do? What did you do here when you went on these cool journeys around the world? And it opens up these relationships that have been so long standing. I have a member here who met 2 families, and one from Connecticut and one from Oklahoma and one from California on one of our Seabourn Yacht excursions. We do a Seabourn Yacht adventure only for Exclusive Resorts members every other year. It's been one of our first journeys that I'll tell you about in the experience collection that we did. And they've done that as families now every year. And now their boys are rooming together at USC. So, it's just these really meaningful experiences that that folks make with one another that they might not have ever had an opportunity to do. So I think we have that opportunity to bring member families together during this time of kind of stay at home. We started an exclusive connection series, bringing important information and from wine tastings to private medical, what you need to know about the COVID into the lives of our families while they are at home. As James mentioned, we're doing our second Monticello Motor Club and BMW event in December, a really cool member drive event at Thermal in California, which we are thrilled to do. We also have kind of ventured back into offering 3 member events that we've always really done, and now as we're coming into traveling and traveling again, one as the Best of Miraval, which is a member favorite destination and just a member event that's there. We're doing a golf adventure in Sea Island that'll be pretty special, and we announced, I think today, if I'm not, I'm giving it away to all y'all that are on this call, that we're going back to the Kentucky Derby, which is just the coolest experience. I have been there with Exclusive Resorts. From you're in the paddocks with the horses and a private farm tour, and it is just the neatest experience, from creating, making your own hat at one of the best hat makers that is known in the world, and drinking a mint julep. So that experience and doing it with other members is really special. So that's one part of the experience collection, kind of these really unique member events. The second part of it is what you were talking about and what James mentioned earlier, is that we have an amazing team that I guess about over a decade ago, members said, we love Exclusive Resorts. We love what you do for us. We've traveled on the portfolio collection, but we still want to dive the Great Barrier Reef, and we still want to go to Africa, and we still want to experience India. You figure it out because we trust you, and we'll go. And we started with 4 trips that are once in a lifetime. We call them our once in a lifetime journey trips, and now do about 8 or 9 a year. And it's our team who are amazing, literally travel and curate these experiences for members, from closing down the Sistine Chapel, so 20 Exclusive Resorts members could have a private guide and walk through the Sistine Chapel, to right before things started closing around the world, we had 75 members, James, on a private jet around the world with National Geographic that as airspaces were closing, we were figuring out how to get everyone right back home while they were, enjoying traveling around the world. So really, really special experiences that we know are bucket lists that members want to do and have either with their children or after at a different time in their life. And we're focused on really kind of different areas. Some are family focused, some are more couple focused, and some are really adventure and cultural immersion into different places around the globe. So when you think about exclusive resorts, we've been talking a lot, rightfully so, about kind of our portfolio collection and what we've done and what we've built and the safety around that. There's a whole other part to being a member of exclusive resorts that is really this experience collection, from these unique member events to these global trips to small adventures that we do, from a barge down Burgundy to a ski safari through the Dolomites that are go when you want and when it's time and easy for your family to do that. So all of that makes up more of our global travel. So both of those things are really, really important to the overall member experience and are part of the exclusive resorts kind of travel collection and what we do for our member families.
The Derby, Africa, some of those places you mentioned, that certainly inspires some wanderlust right about now. Well, I want to be respectful of everyone's time, somehow zoomed by again. But Rachel, there was a question that came in that spoke to membership. And so I'm going to bring that up and then close it out with asking you a little bit more about the membership process. So a participant was asking, how many members stay in residences per year? Do you limit the number of stays? And then sort of in tandem to that, Rachel, we can answer this all at once. Can you walk through the process, the joining process, for those that are interested in learning a little bit more about the membership structures?
Sure. So I think that's an interesting question, the first one. We do not limit. I think it's different destinations welcome different families at different times a year. So seasonally, ski and snow happens at one time a year, but being from Houston, we enjoy the mountains in the summer. So that's our preference when it's 110 here, that we actually enjoy being in the coolness of the mountains in the summer. So I think by destination, it's really interesting that member families, everyone always thinks that folks, when you join, that other members are in the same life stage you are. And really, that's just not the case. Some our members have small kids, some are empty nesters, some are, at a different phase. And so I think the portfolio and the vastness of it, including the experience collection, allows members to use different things during different times that are meaningful to them. As it relates to joining and utilization of days within the portfolio, every year we allow members to elect how many days make sense for them at that point in their life. So if you've got a kiddo on, competitive soccer and they are now in a league and you've got different times than you've had previously, then you might elect to travel 30 days a year versus 40 days a year. And the next year you might need to travel at 20 days because that is something that something's happening within your life. So we allow that flexibility for families, and that is truly valuable to those member families. As James said earlier, we are small and we love it that way. We know our member families and we value that relationship. So we welcome about 100 families a year. We walk through kind of a consultation. We really spend the time in understanding you, what you're looking for, and we want to make sure you're a right fit for exclusive resorts and that we're the right fit for you. And that's really important to us. We'll walk through what we call a demo. That is kind of our private access or viewing into our members' booking system. As Steve Case being one of the certainly premier shareholders of this company, technology is on our side. We've built an amazing members booking site that really gives you a view into each of our homes and floor plans and layouts and all the fun activities we talked about doing. And then we really craft a membership after where you are and what you would like to experience. There is an application process. So most of our members do come from other member families. And again, as James was saying, we value that and those relationships that we make with our members, and they want to share what they experience with others that they either work with or are friends with. And so we walk through kind of an application process, and then we move forward with joining. So I think I mentioned earlier, traditionally we have a 30-year or lifetime membership and that's how most families have joined exclusive resorts. We also have a short-term membership that's 10 years, and through the end of December, based on really life circumstance and happenings this year, we're offering a 5-year membership, a step-in membership as well. So members can elect between 15 and, depending on membership plan, they elect up to 60 days of travel a year. If you want more, we can create that for you. And really, it's about crafting something that fits your family, and then off and away you go. So
Wonderful.
Start to travel.
Yes, thank you. Before we officially sign off, James, I just want to ask you and Rachel too, just quickly, let's be a little bit forward thinking and think about 2021 and some fun things. And I'm curious where you both want to travel to next.
Go ahead, James, the person that has to be pushed to travel by your ambassador. Where are you going?
Right.
Well, so I've got a few things booked. I'm going to go to Real Del Mar in December, which I'm really looking forward to because I haven't been there yet. And then I have a trip to Scottsdale as well. I haven't been there either. And then I have on the calendar Kiowa and Sea Island next year too. What I really want to go to next year.
It's not a bad itinerary.
It's not a bad itinerary, is it? I know. I'm quite lucky. They're sort of short trips. And I try and sort of combine a little bit of work and pleasure. But I also want to try and get out to the Caribbean, actually, because I think I'm really curious to see our new properties. Or not new, we've had them for a while, but we should reopen them in Little Dix Bay. I'd really like to see Abaco. I'd like to get to. So I have a long list, actually. It would take me a long time to go through my entire list with you.
A very fun list, though.
At the top right now, yeah.
And Rachel, what about you?
That's a pretty good list. You're like way ahead of me. My answer to that is
unusual, by the way.
It is unusual. My answer to that, Erin, is anywhere. I'm happy to travel anywhere that I can go at this point in time out of my home, homeschooling my 2 children. So that would be valuable. We have traveled because we believe, and know and trust the club through this. We traveled kind of our first time coming out early in the summer and have since. But next year, I think we just got back actually from our new homes in El Dorado and the Keys, which were amazing.
Oh, they're amazing.
Fantastic. And so I'd love to slip down there and get back. And we have a trip to Abaco on the books and to Costa Rica. So
not a bad itinerary either.
You've got a great itinerary too, isn't it?
Not too shabby.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for your time. And thank you to everyone that joined us today. There were some questions that came in that we didn't get into, so we'll be sure to follow up with you directly. We want to wish you all a happy and safe holiday season as we head into Thanksgiving and December. And when and if you do travel safe and travel well.
Thanks, Erin. Great job.
Thanks, Erin. Good night, everyone.
Good night.